In the heart of a city that has for millennia been a focal point of fervent devotion and profound spiritual yearning, a recent undertaking within the hallowed precincts of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre has peeled back layers of time, offering astonishing glimpses into the very bedrock of Christian tradition. Jerusalem, a name that resonates through history as the stage for prophets, the path trodden by Jesus of Nazareth, and the site of his crucifixion and resurrection, holds within its ancient embrace a sanctuary considered by countless souls to be the epicenter of their faith. This revered edifice, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, is widely acknowledged by an array of scholars and devout Christians as the sacred ground encompassing both Calvary, the hillock of the crucifixion, known in Aramaic as Golgotha, meaning the place of the skull, and the nearby tomb where Jesus' body was laid, and from which he is believed to have risen. For 17 centuries, this site has stood as a monumental testament to life's triumph over death, a beacon of hope drawing pilgrims from every corner of the globe. Dear viewers, before continuing this video, we kindly ask you to like and subscribe to our channel. Also, if you want to receive notifications about new video releases, please hit the bell icon. Thank you for your understanding. Now, an extraordinary revelation, unearthed from deep beneath its time-worn stones, is casting an even more illuminating light upon the narratives that have shaped civilizations, compelling us to re-examine the tangible past that underpins an enduring faith. The impetus for these groundbreaking discoveries arose from a meticulously planned and delicately executed restoration project initiated within the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, an architectural marvel that has itself witnessed the ebb and flow of empires and the passionate devotion of generations. While myriad visitors and pilgrims habitually throng its sacred halls, seeking solace in prayer and quiet contemplation amidst its hallowed atmosphere, few could have foreseen the historical treasures that lay dormant, entombed deep beneath the familiar flagstones of the church floor, awaiting a modern touch to awaken their silent stories. As the complex restoration work commenced, a dedicated team of archaeologists, under the erudite leadership of Dr. Francesca Stasula, embarked on a parallel journey downwards, venturing into the subterranean realms below the original 4th century foundations of the Constantinian-era basilica. What their careful trowels and brushes began to unveil was far more than just inert historical strata. It was tangible, physical evidence that appeared to resonate with astonishing clarity with the ancient accounts preserved in the Gospels, forging a direct link across the chasm of 2 millennia. This ambitious excavation guided them to depths previously undisturbed, far below the massive foundation stones laid by Emperor Constantine's architects, plunging them into the layered chronicle of Jerusalem's distant, primordial past, layers that had remained untouched, unseen, and unread for countless centuries, holding their secrets in the cool, silent earth. Dr. Francesca Stasula, the distinguished archaeologist who expertly directed these sensitive and historically significant archaeological endeavors, articulated that the site has unfolded a remarkably comprehensive timeline of the city's intricate development. The evidence unearthed speaks of distinct periods, including remnants from the Iron Age, revealing earlier occupations of this sacred landscape, followed by clear indicators from the Roman period, the very era that forms the backdrop to the Gospel narratives. Furthermore, the excavations have shed more light on the monumental Christianization of Jerusalem under the Roman Emperor Constantine in the 4th century, a pivotal moment when this location was officially recognized and enshrined. However, the element that truly sent ripples of astonishment and excitement through the global archaeological community, and indeed the wider world, was the unearthing of specific topographical features that seemed to echo, with uncanny precision, a particular descriptive passage found within the Gospel of John in the New Testament. The evangelist John, in his recounting of the crucifixion, provides a seemingly incidental yet profoundly significant detail. Now, in the place where he was crucified, there was a garden, and in the garden a new tomb in which no one had yet been laid. John 19:41. This singular verse, though elegantly simple in its prose, has long been a subject of scholarly intrigue and theological discussion. The juxtaposition it presents, a cultivated garden, a place of life and nurturing, situated in such immediate proximity to a site of brutal Roman execution, typically relegated to grim, barren locales, posed a perplexing question. For centuries, this apparent anomaly remained an unresolved enigma, a detail that invited speculation but eluded definitive physical corroboration. Yet the recent painstaking discoveries made deep beneath the hallowed confines of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre have dramatically brought the solution to this long-standing puzzle into the clear light of empirical evidence. As Dr. Stasula's excavation team meticulously delved into the ancient, solid bedrock that forms the geological foundation of this part of Jerusalem, they uncovered compelling evidence of a sizable, abandoned stone quarry. This quarry, its purpose fulfilled, had subsequently undergone a remarkable transformation, repurposed into a funerary area featuring burial spaces entirely consistent with the Jewish customs prevalent during the 1st century CE. The archaeological record revealed distinct rock-cut tombs, sepulchral chambers hewn directly out of the native limestone, their forms characteristic of the period. Most astonishingly, and directly pertinent to John's description, the team unearthed carefully constructed agricultural terraces, fashioned with dry stone retaining walls, a hallmark of ancient cultivation in hilly terrains. These terraces, remarkably preserved, bore within their soil matrices the telltale traces of ancient agricultural activity. Subsequent, highly specialized paleobotanical studies involving the microscopic analysis of ancient pollen grains extracted from these stratified soil samples yielded definitive signs of diverse plant life, indicating sustained agriculture and organized gardening. The scientific data painted a vivid picture. This specific area, following the cessation of its use as a source of building stone, had indeed transitioned into a dual-purpose site, a necropolis for the dead and a cultivated, productive garden for the living, precisely mirroring the scenario described with such poignant detail in John's Gospel. It was a startling affirmation. The narrative was no longer merely an age-old story passed down through generations. It was a tangible, physical reality, its truth imprinted in the very soil and stone, lying patiently beneath centuries of accumulated history, liturgical veneration, and the weight of time itself. The selection of this particular site in the 4th century by Emperor Constantine's representatives was evidently not a random or arbitrary choice. Historical accounts attribute the initial identification of this locale as the authentic site of Jesus' crucifixion and resurrection to Empress Helena, Constantine's devout mother, who undertook a significant pilgrimage to the Holy Land around 326 to 328 CE. Following her reputed discoveries, and under the direct imperial command of Constantine the Great, the first church of the Holy Sepulchre was constructed, a magnificent edifice designed to protect and venerate this sacred space, enclosing what was believed to be both Golgotha and the tomb of Christ. However, over the ensuing centuries, some critics and skeptics voiced doubts, questioning the veracity of this traditional identification. Was this truly the authentic tomb? Could this location genuinely be the historical Golgotha, the actual site of the crucifixion? These questions, while never fully eroding the profound faith associated with the site, lingered in the background of scholarly and theological discourse. Now, Nearly 1,700 years after Constantine's monumental act of faith and construction, the very ground beneath the church is yielding evidence that powerfully corroborates what early Christians profoundly believed. The meticulously reconstructed sequence of land use, progressing from an active stone quarry to a respectful burial ground featuring rock-cut tombs, then to a cultivated garden space, and ultimately culminating in its consecration as a sacred Christian shrine, is now compellingly supported by a robust framework of archaeological and scientific evidence. There is a common, yet often misleading perception that the realms of scientific inquiry and religious faith are inherently antithetical, destined to walk separate, if not conflicting, paths. Yet, here in the ancient, resonant city of Jerusalem, a different narrative is unfolding with compelling clarity. Archaeology and the biblical texts are not engaged in a contest of credibility. Rather, they are demonstrating a remarkable convergence, a harmonious agreement. The Bible, in this context, provides the rich historical and theological narrative, the framework of events and their significance, while archaeology, with its rigorous methodologies and tangible discoveries, provides the physical footprints, the material evidence of past human actions and environments embedded in the earth. Each stratum carefully excavated, every stone meticulously documented and uncovered, seems to echo the profound truths and historical underpinnings of the scriptural accounts. The presence of a garden adjacent to the tomb, the specific Jewish burial traditions reflected in the rock-cut sepulchres, the clear evidence of land cultivation and horticultural activity. Each discrete discovery is akin to a whisper from the distant past, a voice carried across the ages, affirming with quiet insistence, "This really happened. This story is rooted in this very ground." The narrative of Jesus of Nazareth's death by crucifixion and his subsequent resurrection from the dead forms the absolute cornerstone, the foundational tenet of the Christian faith. The Apostle Paul, one of early Christianity's most influential figures, articulated this centrality with stark clarity in his first letter to the Corinthians. "And if Christ has not been raised, your faith is futile, and you are still in your sins." 1 Corinthians 15:17. This underscores the profound importance of the resurrection not merely as a spiritual concept, but as a historical event. Now, with each new archaeological revelation emerging from beneath the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, the historical foundation supporting that faith is demonstrably growing stronger, more tangible, more verifiable. Believers are not being asked to cling to abstract myths or ephemeral legends spun from the mists of time. Instead, they are invited to consider the possibility of walking, metaphorically and in some ways literally, on the very soil where these transformative events are described as having taken place. They find themselves standing in the city that tradition identifies as the stage for Jesus' ultimate triumph over death. And now, they are, in a sense, hearing from the ancient stones themselves, stones that once lay silent, buried under the accumulation of centuries, but are now speaking with a newfound eloquence, their testimony resonating louder and with greater clarity than ever before. The Church of the Holy Sepulchre, therefore, transcends its role as merely an ancient monument, a historical landmark, or an architectural wonder. It stands as a profound, living testimony, a repository of layered history and enduring faith. Deep beneath its ancient, hallowed walls, it appears that evidence of the foundational story of Christianity has been providentially preserved, perhaps for generations yet to come, generations that may seek tangible connections to the spiritual narratives that have shaped their heritage. And now, in our present day, these remarkable discoveries are providing believers with fresh eyes, a renewed perspective through which to view the well-known symbols of their faith. the rugged cross of Calvary and the profound emptiness of the tomb, allowing them to engage with these core tenets with an even deeper, more informed, and historically grounded faith. These archaeological findings serve as powerful reminders that the Christian message is not one built upon fanciful fables or allegorical constructions, but rather one that asserts its basis in the lived reality of Jesus Christ, His crucifixion, His burial, and His resurrection. This sacred ground, imbued with millennia of prayer and pilgrimage, continues to reveal its deeply held secrets, not to confuse or confound, but rather to strengthen and affirm. Because the essence of what is believed is not solely a spiritual or ethereal matter. It is also presented as a historical one, rooted in time and place. In a contemporary world where pervasive doubt and intellectual skepticism frequently challenge the very foundations of religious belief, discoveries such as these, emerging from the meticulous work of archaeologists like Dr. Stasula and her team, are like a revitalizing breath of fresh air for those who hold to faith. They offer a compelling confirmation that the gospel message, the good news, was not just inscribed on fragile scrolls of papyrus or parchment, but was also, in a very real sense, etched into the enduring stone and soil of Jerusalem itself. The story of Jesus, therefore, is presented as something that is more than just historically real. It is portrayed as eternal, its echoes reverberating through time, and the ancient stones of Jerusalem, witnesses to epochs, are indeed still telling that profound story today, with every new layer that is carefully unveiled. As this video wraps up, we'd like to remind you to like and subscribe to our channel. Your support is vital for our channel's growth and helps us keep creating content. To be notified about new videos, remember to hit that bell icon. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.